Okay, what we got here is a self-winding clock company movement that I've been working on. Here's the motor from it. This was found in a barn that had collapsed on top of it, and so a friend of mine, he acquired the barn, he inherited the building, and he was cleaning the barn up. He found this, he knew I was into clocks, so he gave it to me. So what I'm going to do is I've got some steel parts here, the crutch and some posts and that. They're very I don't know if you can see, they're rusted really bad. So I mean, I could try and clean them up in a lathe, but what I'm going to try, I've never used it before, is Evapo-Rust, and I got some steel screws I'm going to put in here and things, and then we're going to try this stuff out. We're going to let it sit overnight because that's what it says to do. I think some of these screws were blued too at one time. That's brass, so we're going to give it a try. I bought some off of Evapo-Rust, and no, I don't get anything for this. I'm just going to try it. I've never used it before, so I want to see if it works, and we'll go from there. They say non-toxic, but you know how that goes. So I got to put a little more in because I want to cover that, and there we go. That is full. Now if I can do this without spilling it, we'll be all set. I'll set this down here, and that's kind of where that's going to stay. Okay, what I've done is I've got Evapo-Rust in there, working on some of the steel parts. I want to get the rust off of them. I gotta get this apart. This wheel has a slight bend to it, and I wanna flatten that wheel and make it straight. And I believe this is pressed on the shaft. I'm not quite exactly sure how I want to get that off, but there's a little pin here that kind of holds that wheel on, and I think if I can take that pin out, which it looks like it goes all the way through, I can take this wheel off, I can straighten it, and then put it back on. So that's what I'm going to try here. I do have the main spring barrel. The barrel, the spring was all broken into many pieces. Here's a portion of it here, or what's left of it. So, but it's got like a loop end on the. I don't know if you can see it. The way the loop ends on there. But anyway, it's a loop end, and the other end is actually, there's a post. It's here somewhere. So it's, like I say, it's broken into many pieces. I just pulled it out, but I did locate a source for these, brand new actually. So I was kind of happy about that. I did purchase off of Craigslist that actually wasn't Craigslist. It was Facebook Marketplace. A self-winding clock company, one of the clocks from the Western Union clocks. I don't know if you guys know, some of you know quite a bit about them, but for those that don't, this is Brasso. I'm just cleaning his plates a little bit here, trying to get some of the crud off them. I mean, the ultrasonic did a pretty good job, but there's a lot of staining that I'm trying to see if I can get out. So yeah, this self-winding clock company, they made a bunch of these clocks for the Western Union, and they rented them to Western Union. Western Union, they didn't actually sell them. I believe they got anywhere from $1.25 to $1.75 a month, I guess, for these clocks, and then they would maintain them. Well, they were hooked up by telegraph line to the Naval Observatory. And then at a certain time of day, every day, the observatory would send a signal via telegraph wire, and it would set the clock to the correct time, which was kind of unique. Now these clocks, this clock that I got on its way, it's being shipped now. They ran on two 1.5 volt dry cells in series, so it made it for a 3 volt DC movement, which is somewhat interesting. And then every so often, I believe once an hour, it would rewind itself, and you would never had to wind it. And the batteries would last for about a year. So I'm just going to polish these plates up, and then, like I say, I'm going to work at taking this pin out, get this gear off, and I do have some cleanup I have to do on this pivot here. This is kind of rusty, and this actually had a little bend to it. This is where the seconds bit goes on, so I want to straighten that, very carefully straighten it. And so it's coming along nice. Here's some of the other brass parts. I don't know if you can see them, but it's coming along. So yeah, to resurrect this thing, I'm bringing it back from being just laying on the ground in a barn someplace. I've had different people comment that, well, it's seen its better days, but actually the movement is in pretty good shape, and it looks like it was rebushed at one time. There is some, like a bushing here, and then there was a bushing here, and here was rebushed. And the same with this plate. And it actually looks like the for the escapement for the anchor was rebushed. But that's okay. It looks like they did a nice job, whoever did it at the time, and I don't think it ran much after that. So this clock, I mean, it should run when I get done. The hardest part's going to be this. They call this the motor. I have yet to pull this apart. But these are wound coiled magnets, and I've got to check out the wiring on this and do what I can with it. And but I do want to pull it apart. And there's some steel components in here which are going to have to be cleaned up. These posts and these here where these coils mount. That's all has to come off and be cleaned up, and because we are going to want good continuity through some of this for the but this turns, so this is free. It's not and the little switches are there that so hopefully this will be it. So I'm going to get cleaning this, and then I'll work on getting that pin out of there. One thing I want to point out, where the anchor goes on this plate here, there's a little, I guess it's a cock that goes out there and has the pivot hole in the end. It's got a steel screw in it, so I'm going to try and remove that screw, and then and it's a steel screw, and that wasn't in there that bad at all. So, and I'm going to put that in the Evap-O-Rust and clean that screw up, because I do plan on reusing it. So now this comes off, and this actually has a pin in it so that you get the location correct. But it's got two different holes, so I'm assuming if you wanted to adjust the depth of the anchor in the escape wheel, you could do that, or that was for maybe a different an escape wheel that didn't have as many teeth, because I believe there were 4 different beat settings on these clocks. I may be wrong. I'm going to have to look that up. But the other one was on the back plate, and or what I call the back plate. And I just want to make sure that these are identical, and I do believe they are, so it doesn't matter where these go. But I want to throw this in the ultrasonic again and clean up some of that was underneath the screw. So I'm going to continue kind of cleaning this plate up. As you can see, it's cleaning up nice. I don't think it was a lacquered plate, because I had it in the ultrasonic to get some of that off, a lot of that off, and it's coming out coming along pretty nice. That staining from the rust in that is cleaning up nicely. So I'll put it back in the ultrasonic because I want to get all this the residue from the polishing here out of the numbers and the serial number and the patent date. According to this serial number, this is an earlier. This is what they call a C open plate movement, self-winding clock company. This was, I believe, not this particular movement, but this style movement was the original one they come out with that they patented. And it's anywhere from 1884, and they quit using it in 1898, I think it is, and then they went to the F movement, which that clock that I have coming that I bought off of Marketplace, that is, I believe that has the F movement, and I didn't pay a lot for that. So I took a gamble that nobody's messed with it, because it does still have the hands on it and the seconds bit, so it's hooked to something. So I'm assuming it's still the original movement in it. Hoping that they didn't hook it up to 110 volt and try and make it run or something like that, thinking that it was an electric clock and burnt something out. But so we'll see when we get it. When I do, I'll kind of unbox it and show you that, and we'll kind of go over that a little bit. But yeah, this is my restoration project here. I do have a little job I got to do on a number 2 Seth Thomas regulator a little later on today. I probably won't show that because it's out of beat. I've got to get it set and beat, and that's not a big deal. So anyway, so I'll continue on polishing. All right, well, that cleaned up pretty well. I actually had to use Dremel tool with a buffing wheel on it, and some of the compound, the rouge or buffing compound that they give you to get around these pivot holes where the rust was really in heavy. And there's a spot right there that I really can't. It's very hard to get out. It won't come out. I have a bristle brush, like a wheel here, which is plastic or nylon. And I don't want to scratch the movement. There is scratches in it, but fortunately not from me, that you can see from whoever did. There was some bushing work done on this, so you can see it. I did use a wire wheel very carefully around this post here. This was steel and it's riveted in, so I'm not going to take that out. I thought about maybe using a little bit of the Evapo-Rust, just dabbing it on there, seeing if that will break up the rust that's attached to the brass, that's adhered itself to the brass, and see if that'll work. I may try just a little dab on the end of a toothpick or something and see what happens with that. But if not, I'm happy with this. I'm going to ultrasonically clean this. Both sides are fairly clean because I want to get any of the residue off there. And then this is basically what that one started out like. Only that one actually was a little bit worse. All right, I'm using a toothpick, and I'm putting a little Evapo-Rust on those stains, and it doesn't seem to be doing anything to the brass, which is a good thing. I tried it on an inconspicuous spot before, and I'm just kind of working the toothpick into the little crevices there that the rust has adhered itself in, and I put some around the base of this where it's stained. Here, just with a toothpick, and I'm going to let it sit on there a little while and see what happens. It seems to be dissolving some of the rust. I just, you want to be very careful here with this plate. I don't want to, harm the plate. It doesn't appear to have any lacquer on it, so I don't believe it's a lacquered plate. But it does seem to be loosening up some of this rust, which would be a good thing. So it just takes a little patience, a little time, and then we'll see how it comes out. All right.